Hello, and welcome to the 9th lesson of my series Salesforce for Beginners. In this video, we are going to learn about what are approval processes. This is the third part of the series Business Logic. If you haven't checked out the previous lessons, the links will be in the description. So as per the contents of Business Logic, we've already gone through what are formula fields, validation rules, workflows in our previous lessons. In today's lesson, we're going to learn about approval processes. So let's get started. So what is an approval process? As the name states, it is a process that involves taking approvals from certain approvers. So as per definition, an approval process automates how records are approved in Salesforce. We already learned about workflow rules where, based on certain criteria, certain actions like field updates and email alerts are triggered. A little similar to that, in approval processes, based on certain conditions, we have approval raised to certain approvers. At every stage of the approval process, there are certain actions that take place. All of this is defined in the approval process. So as you can see here, it specifies each step of the approval process, whom to request it, and what to do at each point of time, which are the actions. So let's try to understand this using an example. So let's take an example of a school where the average percentage required is 40% to pass. But considering that there are some students who might get less than 40%, let's take a use case where if average marks is greater than 30% and less than 40%, we're going to submit the student record for approval to the principal. And based on the status provided by the principal, we are going to either approve the record or reject the record after the process. So let's take this example using the manual route where Miss Teacher has to create a student record. So we create a student record Kobe, and then we add the details such as the maths marks is 35, science is 31, and English is 40. So the average comes up to 35.33. There is also a new field pass status, which Miss Teacher wants to update, but she cannot do that until she gets the approval from the principal. She observes that the average percent is 35.33, which falls under the 30 to 40 bracket. So she would write a manual email to principal, and then principal is going to reply back his response to Miss Teacher. After she receives the response, Miss Teacher is going to manually update the record and then set the value to pass status as passed approved. Now doing this process entirely manually can lead to a lot of discrepancies in the data. To avoid that, we can automate this using an approval process. So now let's take the same example, but this time with an approval process and an email template at play. So this time, Miss Teacher is going to create the record for Kobe, enter all the details, and then she's just going to save the record. Now the approval process is going to come to play. It is going to check if the average value is in the 30 to 40 bracket. So 35.33 is between 30 to 40%. So it is going to trigger an automated email using the email template to the principal. Now principal can decide to reply on the same email with a yes or no, and then that response will be captured by the approval process, and then based on the response, the pass status on the record will be updated to pass approved. Now this is handled by the approval process itself. Now principal can also choose to directly approve or reject the record at the record level, and then the approval would also trigger the pass status to be approved to pass approved. This leads to saving a lot of time and also reduces the errors by a huge margin. Miss Teacher, on the other hand, does not have to do too much of interaction, as all the interaction is taken care of by the approval process itself. So now that we've discussed what an approval process is using an example, let's get on with the hands-on scenario. Here we're going to use the same use case that we discussed earlier. So for the preparation, we are going to be creating the following fields: total marks, average marks, and pass status. Few of these fields have already been created in some of my previous lessons, so definitely check them out if you want to see how they were done. We are going to create the remaining fields and then get on with the creation of the email alert before we get on to the creation of the approval processes itself. So to begin that, let's log in to your free Salesforce developer account. So I'm currently on the home page of my free Salesforce developer account. Now we're going to do the preparation part, which is checking on the fields. So click on Setup. In Quick Find, type Objects. Select Objects. Select the object student. If you haven't already created the object student, please do. To know how to create an object, check out my previous lessons on the same. Scroll down. You'll see that I have two fields here called marks total and total percent. In my presentation, I mentioned the average marks, which is nothing but the total percent, and the total marks is nothing but marks total. So if you haven't already created these fields in your org, check out my previous lessons. I'll just walk you through the formula that we have in the system. So marks total is basically the total of math marks plus science marks. And then total percent is a formula of the type percent, and it has marks total divided by 200 as the formula. The outcome is displayed in percent. So now we are going to create the third field. To do that, click on New, scroll down, select Pick List, click on Next, enter field label as passing status, select Enter Values, type in the values as Pass Approved and Pass Rejected. Scroll down, click on Next. Provide access to all profiles, click on Next. Select the layout and click on Save. There, we've created the pick list field. Let's click and check the pick list values in them. So passing status has the pick list values, pass approved and pass rejected. So now we have all the fields created for the preparation phase. Now let's get on to the creation of the email template. To do so, click on Setup. In Quick Find, type Email Templates. Click on Classic Email Templates. Click on New Template. We already have text selected. Let's leave it at that. Click on Next. So in select the field type, select the object. So here we're going to select student fields. So go to S. We have student fields. This is basically so that we can get the merge fields that we can use in our email template. So let's get back to this in a bit. Scroll down. Select the email template name. I'm going to name it Approval Email. Click outside and it's going to give you the API name. Scroll down. At the subject, I'm going to type Approval Required. Now let's type in the email body. So I'm going to type in, hello, kindly review the following record for passing status. Let's also add the name of the student here. To do that, scroll up, select the field. Click on student name. Now copy this merge field. Scroll down. Let's paste it over here. What this will do is when the email is sent, it is going to replace the merge field with the name of the student. So it's going to read out, kindly review the following records for passing status. Let's type in off, and then we're going to have the name Kobe in here. I also want the student record URL in here. So for that, I'm going to again select the field and select detail link. Copy this merge field. I'm going to paste it over here. So I'm going to type in regards. And then let's click on save. There, we've created the email template that would be sent out when we trigger the approval process. Before we proceed further, there is still a step that we need to do on the email template. If you can see, we have the available for use checkbox which needs to be checked. So click on edit. Scroll down. Select available for use. Scroll down and click on save. Now this email template will be available to use in our approval process. So now the preparation phase is done, and now let's move on to creating the actual approval process. To do so, in Setup, click on Quick Find and type Approval Process. Select Approval Processes. In Manage Approval Process For, make sure that you've selected Student. Scroll down. You'll see a button called Create New Approval Process. Click on that. You could go with the Use Jumpstart Wizard or the standard Setup Wizard, but let's go forward with the Use Jumpstart Wizard for now. I'm going to name this as Pass Status Approval. Click outside to get the API name, scroll down. Now select the approval assignment email template. Look for the template that we've recently created, which is approval email. Scroll down. Now for the criteria, we're going to create a custom criteria. So here, select the field, select total percent. In operator, we're going to select, let's say greater than, and then we're going to put in 30. This is basically the criteria or the condition under which the approval process is going to be triggered. But this is still not complete, as we still have to put in another condition, which is total percent less than 40. Now this is going to make sure that the total percent is in between 30 and 40 to trigger the approval process. So scroll down. Now you have to select the approver for this approval process. So there are multiple options to who is going to be the approver, but we are going to select automatically assign to an approver, and we are going to select a user. So I'm going to send it to myself. So that makes me the approver of any records that comes out of this approval process. Scroll down. Before we proceed further, you can add more approvers by clicking on add row, but for now let's just keep one approver in the chain. You have some options in case of multiple approvers, but we can ignore that for now. Now click on save. You'll get a little message saying that you will not be able to use the approval process until it has been activated. So take that in note and click on OK. So we've now created an approval process with just one step. Like it says, although it's not required, it is recommended that you perform additional actions before activating your process. So scroll down, click on View Approval Process Detail page. Now scroll down in the detail page. You can see multiple sections in this detail page, like the initial submission actions. This is the actions that will happen when you submit the record for approval. So currently, when a submission action takes place, the record gets locked. That is, you cannot edit any of the details in that record. We'll leave it as it is for now. Scroll down, then you have the approval steps. So to approve any of the records coming in from this approval process, the approval request will go to the user Devjit Chaudhary, and that is the only step which is currently in the system, which is actually fine for this example. Next, we have the final approval actions. That is, if user Devjit Chaudhary actually approves the record, what actions needs to be taken on the record level. So right now, if Devjit approves the record is going to be locked and it's going to remain locked. If you want to change the behavior, you can click on edit and change the behavior. But for now, I think that is fine as well. Scroll down. And the final rejection action is unlock the record for editing. I would like to leave this as it is as well. But in the final approval actions, I do want to add another step. So to do that, click on add new and click on field update. In the name, I'm going to say update pass result. Click outside. We have the API name. Scroll down. Select the field to update. I'm going to pick passing status. Since it's a pick list field, we will have to select what value that we update on the pick list. To do that, we're going to select a specific value and select pass approved. Now click on save. Scroll down. Now we have one field update in our final approval actions, which updates the pass status to approved. We want a similar field update in case of final rejection as well. To do that, we're going to do the same. Click on add new under final rejection actions and click on field update. I'm going to call this reject status update. Click outside, scroll down. In the field to update, we're going to again select the same field, which is passing status. Scroll down again. A specific value is going to be pass rejected and click on save. Scroll down. There, we've created both the actions that we require to actually update the field. So next we have the recall actions. That is, in case you recall the approval record, we are going to unlock the record for editing, which is fine. We don't want to add any more actions here, so scroll up and click on activate. You're going to get a message and click on OK. You can see that the active checkbox will be checked. Congratulations, you've just created your very first approval process. And now it's time to test the same. So to do that, click on the student object tab. Let's create a new record for a student. I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to give the name Leon. Father's name can be Matt. I'll give a random phone number. Science marks can be 34. Maths marks can be again somewhere in the 30s, which is 35. I'm going to leave the passing status as it is, which is none, and click on save. So the previous result as per the formula field which we have had for quite some time is failed, but the total percent is around 34.50, which actually satisfies the use case in between 30 to 40. Now one step that I would like to mention, which I did not mention earlier during the presentation slide, is that after the record is created, you actually have to do one more step called click on the button called submit for approval. You see the approval history. Now just click on this button. It's going to give you a message and click on OK. There, a one-step approval record is created on the approval history and the overall status is still pending. Since I'm the approver, I can actually click on approve or reject and actually approve or reject this record. But I'm not going to do it this way. Instead, since I've already triggered an approval process, I expect that there would be an email in my email inbox. But before I go to my inbox, there is a setting in Salesforce which actually allows you to reply to an email and then approve the record directly from the email reply. In my org, it is already enabled, but there is a possibility that it might not be enabled in your org. So I'm going to demonstrate how this process works first, and then I will show you the setting that you need to enable. So let's go to my email inbox first. So I'm currently on my email inbox. You see that there is an approval required email here. Click on that. I'm going to click on look safe for now. You can see that the language actually matches the email template that we made earlier. It says, hello, kindly review the following record for passing status. So Leon is actually a merge field and it replaces the name of the student. Next, we have the link that we've added here, which is again a merge field, and then regards. So I'm going to reply to this email and type approved or just approve. And I'm going to send the reply. Now, like I said, this might not work for some of you because there is a setting in Salesforce, but I will get to that in a minute. Now let's get back to the Salesforce org. So here in the record, I'm going to refresh this. It might take a couple of turns if the mail has not. Okay, so already it says approved. So this is one of the two ways that is usually used to approve the record. One being that coming back to the record itself and approving from here. Otherwise, you can directly approve from your email as well. You can see that since the record is now approved, the record remains logged, which is a behavior we've actually set in our own approval process. So that is fine. Now let me quickly show you the setting that you need to enable for this email reply to work. So on the top, click on setup. In quick find, type automation process setting. Sorry, it's the process automation setting. And click on process automation setting. You can see there is enable email approval response, which is already checked in my org. So that is the reason why when I send approved in the reply, I actually approve the record. So check this and click on save. Okay, so now let's quickly go back to the record once. Click on Leon. Another observation is that passing status is now pass approved because we've approved the process. Now this field update had happened the instance we had actually approved the record. If I were to reject the record, then the pass status was going to be pass rejected because of the action that we set in the rejection section in our approval process. So that is it for this video. If you liked the video, press on that like button, comment and share on this video and subscribe to my channel BeginIT. So this is Devjit Chaudhary and I'll see you next time.